you recognize whose iconic voice this is in The Wizard of Oz?
Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
This is Fun Facts About The Wizard of Oz. The cameo voice of Juliet that sings in the song If I Only Had a Heart is none other than the voice of the very first Disney princess, Snow White.
I'm wishing.
Adriana Caselotti voiced the role of Snow White in Disney's first animated feature film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and was hired a few years after to record this small, uncredited vocal in The Wizard of Oz.
Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
After being the voice of Snow White, it's often believed that Adriana was blacklisted from the industry by Disney, who didn't want her iconic voice being used elsewhere. Adriana had a very limited career in the industry afterward. In her later years, she capitalized on her Disney connection, appearing on variety shows and giving interviews, and was inducted into the Disney Hall of Fame in 1994.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here for Conversations with Taz for Monday Mayhem. And even though we talked about a lot last night and we got caught up on a lot of things, even more has happened. I swear. Woo. First of all, my condolences go out to Grant Wall's family, and coming from the Associated Press, soccer journalist Grant Wall's body returned to U.S. The body and possessions of soccer journalist Grant Wall were repatriated to the United States on Monday after his death last week while covering the World Cup in Qatar, a senior State Department official said. The official said Wall's remains and his belongings arrived at New York's John F. Kennedy Airport around 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They were accompanied by a consular official from the U.S. Embassy of Doha who had custody of Wall's remains since shortly after he collapsed during Friday's match between Argentina and the Netherlands and later died. The official, who spoke on condition of anonymity because of privacy concerns, had no additional details but said the embassy in Qatar had been working with Wall's family to ensure the repatriation went smoothly. Wall, an American journalist who helped grow the popularity of soccer in the United States and reported on some of the biggest stories in the sport, was 49. Wall was an incredible journalist. Well before LeBron James was drafted into the NBA, he did an incredible piece on him. Wall has always been very generous with his contacts, his labor, being very vocal regarding marginalized communities. He will dearly and sincerely be missed. And once again, my greatest condolences out to his family. Sorry that I do sound a little stuffy tonight. My allergies started kicking my butt right before going live. So my sincere apologies. Let's see. Also, to update you, coming from Reuters, former FTX CEO Bankman-Fried arrested in Bahamas. Official. The Bahamas police have arrested former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, the country's attorney general said on Monday, adding that the Bahamas has received formal notification from the United States of criminal charges against him. A spokesman for the United States Attorney's Office in Manhattan confirmed Bankman-Fried had been arrested in the Bahamas but declined to comment on what the charges are. As a result of the notification received and the material provided therewith, it was deemed appropriate for the Attorney General to seek SBF's arrest and hold him in custody pursuant to our own nation's Extradition Act, the Office of Bahamas Attorney General Ryan Pender said. An attorney for Bankman-Fried could not immediately be reached for comment. In a series of interviews and public appearances in late November and December, Bankman-Fried acknowledged risk management failures but sought to distance himself from accusations of fraud, saying he never knowingly commingled customer funds on FTX with funds at his proprietary trading firm, Alameda Research. I didn't ever try to commit fraud, Bankman-Fried said in November 3rd in a November 30th interview at the New York Times Deal Book Summit, adding he doesn't personally think he has any criminal liability. You don't think that the monies from two different businesses You know what? You know what? Nope. Nope. No, 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 nope, 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 no, no. Now, as you know, biggest story of the weekend is the release and the prisoner swap of Brittany Griner. Want to know how her trip home was? Of course, I'm going to show you. Here we go.
But here's what I wouldn't mind telling you. When she finally got onto the U.S. plane, I said, Brittany, you must have been through a lot over the last 10 months. Here's your seat. Please feel free to decompress. We'll give you your space. And she said, oh no, I've been in prison for 10 months now listening to Russian. I want to talk. But first of all, who are these guys? And she moved right past me, went to every member on that crew, looked them in the eyes, shook their hands, and asked about them, got their names, making a personal connection with them. It was really amazing. And then later on an 18-hour flight, she probably spent 12 hours just talking. And we talked about everything under the sun. And I was left with the impression that this is an intelligent, passionate, compassionate, humble, interesting person, a patriotic person, but above all, authentic. I hate the fact that I had to meet her in this manner, but I actually felt blessed having had a chance to get to know her.
You said that.
Now, everyone claiming that Brittany Griner should have rotted away in the Russian prison camp city that she was sentenced to. It hates this country, is so unpatriotic. Even before all of this happened, stories regarding Brittany Griner is always that she's humble, she's down to earth, she talks to the staff, she checks on people, and even in her darkest hour, she's checking on people. She was the one imprisoned, and she went to check on other people. She went to talk to them, see how they were doing, thank them for, flying her home, things like that. If that's not patriotism, I don't know what is. See, y'all confuse criticizing the country as being unpatriotic, but y'all criticize y'all jobs every single day, right? Mm, mm, mm. And for those of y'all that keep going, but Biden left a Marine. But first of all, he was a bad conduct discharge reservist. He doesn't even have VA benefits or VA rights. He can never, ever, ever wear the uniform again, as we discussed last night. But Trump had the ability to bring him home and didn't. So where's that energy? And before you go, times you're reaching, where is your... Yeah, Trump told on himself. Here we go.
So Donald Trump just admitted that he turned down a trade for Paul Whelan, the Marine who's still stuck in Russia when he was president. He said, I turned down a deal with Russia for a one-for-one swap of the so-called Merchant of Death for Paul Whelan. And then he goes on to say, I would have gotten Paul out. Like, what? You were president when Paul was arrested. Why didn't you get him out? All these Republicans are furious at Biden for not getting Paul Whelan home, even though it's impossible because Russia didn't want to trade for him. But Donald Trump literally rejected his return. I bet Republicans won't be talking about this.
Now, given that it's still unknown and unfounded as far as the research that I could do, because it is very, very well guarded, when and how Paul Whelan got his American citizenship. Hell, even when his parents got their American citizenship. But given Trump's track record and the fact that he was selling pardons while in the White House, I wonder if he left Paul Whelan over there because the family couldn't come up with the dollar amount he wanted. Just a query, just a question. But for the Merchant of Death, coming from AOL.com, Russian arms dealer Victor Bout speaks out after Brittany Griner swap. Sitting in a Moscow studio as snow fell outside, looking relaxed in a blue blazer and maroon t-shirt, Russian arms dealer Victor Bout described his 14 years in a U.S. prison in his first interview since he was exchanged for American basketball player Brittany Griner, who had been held in the Russian prison colony following a drug conviction earlier this year. The whole world basically is a game, he said, describing the lessons he says he learned from reading in Eastern philosophy. Putting that lesson into practice, Bout says he would begin mornings by laughing hysterically in defiance of his fate. Dude, it sounds like you went cuckoo-cuckoo. It sounds like you were flying round the cuckoo's nest, but okay. A notorious arms dealer with alleged ties to Russian security services, Bout was arrested in Thailand in 2008 and extradited to the United States in 2010. A federal indictment charged him with conspiracy to kill Americans by selling weapons to Colombian guerrillas. There was nothing Bout said of those charges. He was also accused of selling weapons to the Taliban in Afghanistan, as well as oppressive African regimes. The 2005 film Lord of War, starring Nicolas Cage, is a glamorized retelling of his notorious exploits. Bout went to trial in 2011 in New York City, convicted on terrorism charges. He was slated to remain in prison until 2029. I told y'all he was about to get out anyway. In his interview after last week's early release, he suggested that his federal defense attorney had tried to romantically seduce him, crudely simulating her appearance with hand gestures. What? Bro, have you been void of mirrors for 12 years? Stranger things have happened, whatever. The interview aired on RT, a state run Russian television network, and was conducted by Maria Butina, a Russian spy who was expelled from the United States in 2019 after spending more than a year behind bars. In the interview, Bout described his time in solitary confinement as especially harrowing. Yes, there was panic. Yes, it was very difficult, but also complained about American prison food, lamenting his inability to access garlic or fresh herbs. Dude, you were in prison and you were an arms dealer. Like, how much time were you spending like partying with people in the first place? Like, my guy, being alone, you should what I know, you're mad. I mean, the white privilege is global. You're in prison and you're worried about not getting fresh herbs and your biggest complaint is the prison food. Like, did you Did you think Wolfgang Puck was coming in to serve you, my guy? I, and this is why people shit. Cause ain't no way. Ain't no way. How very Martha Stewart of you, Mr. Bout. How I I can't get fresh herbs and get. Okay. Now up till now, I've generally just posted in the news section on the homepage here on this channel updates regarding the Atatiana Jefferson murder case trial. But here is an update that I really want you all to see and pay attention to. On the stand today was the officer or ex-officer that is on trial for taking her life. Take a look at this, but turn up your volume because you really need to pay attention to the dialogue.
No.
So you don't know if there was anything behind it?
No, I don't.
How smart is it to shoot a gun at a target without knowing what's behind the target?
I took a well-aimed shot with ammunition that's designed not to overpenetrate.
How smart is it to take a shot at a target without knowing what's behind the target?
It's not.
You're trained against that, aren't you?
Yes.
And like one of the 4 most basic rules about firearms is don't shoot at a target unless you know what's behind the target, isn't it?
Yes.
Like the top 4, right?
Yes.
But you disregarded that, didn't you?
Finally in open court, a police officer is questioned about going against the procedure they were trained on. Now, his partner already gave up the goods and was like, nope, she didn't have a weapon. The only thing we saw was her face. And once again, if you do not know what is behind someone, you do not just willy-nilly shoot. And you see how I took a calculated shot. No, you didn't. It was not calculated. There was no observation. If you received a wellness check call on someone and you see that their front door is ajar, why would you go in and just open fire without confirming that the person that you're looking at is the person you're supposed to be checking on? Oh, that's right. She was black. So she was going to be seen as a threat. because there's no zipper, there's no buttons on this skin. So the skin that we're in, you view as a weapon. Okay. But from one nut job to the next, guess what the 2023 GOP platform is? I can tell you it's not to help veterans. I can tell you it's not to help the disabled. I can tell you it's not to put more money in your pocket. I can tell you it's not to reform healthcare. I can tell you it's not to reform the police department. You may say, well, damn, Taz, what is left? Wasting your taxpayer dollars. Take a look.
So the Republicans have announced that they have launched an investigation into Joe Biden, and you might be thinking, for what? Nothing. Nobody really knows. I don't even think they know what they're investigating him for. But it really does show you their priorities, right? Like, they have the House now. They can introduce bills that they think will help the American people, but instead they're pulling political stunts. To be honest with you, I don't expect anything less.
So once again, we the taxpayers are going to foot the bill for the GOP to waste time, then get on social media and say how the government isn't doing anything and we're supposed to sit back and pretend like they aren't the government. Bombard your public servants from the most local to the federal. Bombard them on social media, bombard them with emails, bombard them with phone calls. Let them know the economy is already jacked up. Fix inflation, put more money in our pockets, stop putting us into debt for healthcare, and do not allow these frivolous BS investigations into absolutely nothing. Because as long as we sit back in silence, they're going to keep doing it. I don't care if you're not Republican. If these idiots represent you in any way, let them know, you're not here for it. Because if they're going to waste time, we will lobby for them to now be paid minimum wage. I bet you they'll stop wasting time then. That they get paid minimum wage with no overtime. Imagine the wake-up call. Imagine the wake-up call. Because I don't know about you. I don't know if you've ever sat and watched some of the hearings. The amount of conservatives that are literally sleep on the job, literally sleep in the chambers, just sitting there like this. Pay them minimum wage. Tell them they get nobody's approving overtime. They'll understand a livable wage and they'll stop wasting money. Because when they realize how much of that minimum wage is going to be eaten up for them to play tiddlywinks in the chambers, they'll stop. They will stop. If they want to play with our money, play with theirs. When I said we need to go into 2023 matching energy, this is what I mean. Every time they play with our money, lobby to play with theirs. Lobby to play with theirs. And that's why I say start on the local side and move your way up. Even start with your school boards. But unless you are living under a rock or just don't follow politics until you come to watch this show, Kyrsten Sinema decided she was never a Democrat. She was just Democrat in title only. Well, if Republican in name only is a rhino, a Democrat in title only would be a ditto. Just kidding. That is my dad joke for the week. She's now independent. But let's dive a little bit deeper into the Sinema lie.
Happy Friday. When CNN's Jake Tapper asked Sinema what she thinks she's doing and if there's still going to be a 51-49 Democratic majority, she said it's kind of a DC thing to worry about, and she's doing this for Arizona. As a native Arizonan, which Arizonans are you talking about? You lied to all of us. You lied to Republicans, you lied to independents, you lied to Democrats. You ran and were elected on a lie. And we cannot wait to vote you out. 2024 is not coming fast enough. Have a listen, guys, and have a great day.
That's 51-49. What you're doing today doesn't change that. It's still basically going to be 51-49.
Well, I know you have to ask that question, Jake.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a DC thing to worry about. What I'm really focused on is just making sure that I'm doing what I think comports with my values and the values of Arizonans.
Did you notice how she said comports with her values first? And if you're worried about properly representing your constituency in Arizona, why not give them confirmation that, hey, I told y'all I would vote Democratic, I would vote for the people. This is what I'm going to finally start doing. See, she goes in, she says, hey, I'm bisexual. First openly bisexual member. Okay, great, kudos. But you're not doing anything to help the LGBTQIA plus community. You're not doing anything to help women. You go in with your purple hair, you put on your cutoff jean vest and all these things like, I'm a sock it to the man, while bootlicking the man. See, she's giving you the optics that she's here for the people, but giving you the track record to confirm that she's here for the 1%ers and that she wants to be a 1%er and stay there. This is why I tell people, just like in basketball, don't look at the face. Don't look at the feet. Watch the ball. Now, from one DC thing to the next, let's take a look at January 6th and Trump.
We have some massive news. The January 6th committee is reportedly considering criminal referrals for Donald Trump and 4 others, including former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, for their role in January 6th. Now, a criminal referral would mean that the January 6th committee believes that they have evidence that these people committed a crime, and they're referring that to the Department of Justice. And that is no joke. If they believe that Trump broke the law based on the evidence they have, that should terrify him.
But you want to know what's actually terrifying him? You want to know what's actually under Trump's skin? Trevor Noah on The Daily Show. Oh, I wish I was joking. Let's run the footage.
I don't even know what to say anymore about these things. Trump's on a rampage. Hide the ketchup bottles. What is he rampaging about right now? Trevor Noah. That I don't know, but he wants somebody that likes him on The Daily Show. The guy had no talent, no charisma, and very little intelligence. Why would anyone have expected him to do well? What a stupid choice. They put a pro-Trump person on it, it would go through the roof. But they're too dumb to know that. Who is typing these messages out? Like, just tell him you're writing it and write something else. Have a great day.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Trevor Noah has been on The Daily Show for 7 years. He wrapped up being on The Daily Show this past week. He's not taking it to like pursue a movie career or anything else. He's confirmed that. But The Daily Show, once again, corrects me if I'm wrong, because I was late to the party of The Daily Show. It had been on for a couple of years before I realized it was on and got into the swing of things. It's very liberal, very moving forward for progress, very criticize everything and everybody. Politics, entertainment, general life. I've seen them criticize restaurants and news outlets and poke fun of everybody. How would a pro-Trump racist conservative fit into that? How would that increase the ratings? Like, my guy, you don't have popularity anywhere. You don't have a majority anywhere. This would not be ratings gold. Hell, The Apprentice and Celebrity Apprentice wasn't ratings gold. You never won an Emmy, my guy, and all you did was throw a temper tantrum. But it's like the Trump organization was just found guilty of committing fraud. You have other indictments on the way. The special master was just removed from your Mar-a-Lago case. You're going down, but you're worried about. Wouldn't it be nice to be orange, dumpy, stupid, and male in the United States? You can say or do whatever. You can be high out your mind all day, every day, in 4K, and they will still throw money at you. I, I, well, Miss, I think that I'm the female version of Trump more than Marjorie Taylor Greene. Madame Passe Blanche herself has decided to pull the ultimate page out of the Trump book and sue because she lost the gubernatorial race during this year's midterm elections. Yes, I'm talking about, I don't want to tell anybody I'm a woman of color, Carrie Lake. Here we go.
Carrie Lake, the losing gubernatorial candidate in Arizona, has now filed her expected lawsuit. She's suing Katie Hobbs, both personally and as Secretary of State, Stephen Richter, who is the Maricopa County Recorder, a Republican in charge of voting in Maricopa County, and the entire Board of County Supervisors. The complaint has all the stuff she's been complaining about for the past 2 weeks. She talks about tabulator problems, printer problems, and claims to have affidavits from lots of people saying that there were issues. I always like to go see what lawyers are involved. One of them is Brian James Blim. This is the same guy that Coconino County tried to hire a week ago when they were being sued by the Secretary of State to force them to canvass their votes. He declined the representation, and the county ended up being unrepresented in the case that they lost. He's at a firm called the Valley Law Group, which on its website says Domestic and Family Law Attorneys. More specifically, they do this kind of work. Here's a picture of him. Oh wait, sorry, that's not him. Here's the picture of him. And here's the kind of law he does. None of it is elections law. The other is a lawyer out of Washington, D.C. called Kurt Olson, and here's his website. Will Carrie Lake win these lawsuits? No. Will she keep going on them and appeal them until she gets to the Arizona Supreme Court and then tries to go to federal court? Yeah, at least until the money runs out. So until she's lost them all or she runs out of money, we can expect to be hearing from her for a while. In the meantime, Katie Hobbs will be sworn in about a month.
Okay. Now, for those of y'all that don't know, I own an IT consulting company, so I'm going to give y'all a little bit of advice that I tell people in my personal life all the time, my friends and family, etc. Now, when somebody is first starting out, they will get like a basic WordPress website that they try to doctor up themselves because they don't have the money to hire somebody like me to do it. When you have an attorney that is so high-powered that they catch the attention of a gubernatorial candidate, and at the top of their website, it says their hosting service, GoDaddy, and it's more basic than what a high school student could put together, run, baby, run. Run. She's going to lose incredibly. She is going to waste so much money, and I feel like she's also going to get herself in additional legal trouble because I think she's going to try to pull a Marjorie Taylor Greene. Remember a few months ago, I told y'all how Marjorie Taylor Greene used campaign funds to buy herself an SUV that all of a sudden she was doing all of her interviews in at the time. And that's why she wants her divorce proceedings sealed. So yeah. But from one campaign screw up to the next. Y'all know I wasn't going to do a show without talking about at least one of the walkers. And tonight, I'm going to talk about two. Let's start with Daddy Herschel.
Do you guys want some tea? Come here. All the shit's coming out now about the Herschel Walker campaign, and the staffers are spilling. And it is no mercy, no holds barred. They are blaming his wife. What? They are blaming the candidate's wife for crippling the campaign in a blistering, profane rant, and oh my god. This account of Walker as a lying, delusional, confused, misled candidate, eager to believe what sounded good and dismiss the bad, is based on interviews with 5 campaign staffers. But Walker was always seeking and accepting advice from the least experienced people in the room, namely his red-pilled wife. Wife's name's Julie Blanchard. Blanche. Apparently, Julie wanted Cardi B on the campaign trail. They were like, you want to bring in the person that sings wet-ass pussy to appeal to conservatives because she tweeted we were in a recession? Oh, it's so bad. It's getting messy. This is what Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz wanted you Republicans to vote for.
Cardi B. Cardi B, who is extremely knowledgeable about politics and economics. Look at her business moves. Argue with your mama regarding that, okay? They really thought, I shouldn't say they, Miss Blanchard really thought that she could convince Cardi B to come out on the campaign trail with woman beater, multi-cheater, heavy with the mental health issues, should have been taking care of himself, was parading his gay son around to get a pat on the back from Trump, Graham, and Cruz. They really thought she was coming up. This goes to show just how gimmicky the GOP has always been and how much more gimmicky they're about to become. Because that's what they're trying to run off of. Gimmicks. Not an actual platform, not actually doing anything that people need or want, especially their constituency, because they've convinced the most uneducated and the poorest of the poor to empty out their pockets for them. I've shown y'all the videos of grown-ass men convincing their retired wives or wives that have been stay-at-home moms forever. So they're getting the greeters at Walmart positions to get jobs so these men can travel around the country to follow Trump and go to every single one of his paid, you gotta buy tickets for rallies. We are living in a real life episode of the Twilight Zone. Like who in their right mind? Think about it. If you saw a commercial or a campaign poster saying Cardi B was campaigning for Herschel, who would have believed it? Who would have believed it? Especially after her song WAP came out and so many conservative men claimed that having WAP meant that you had a medical condition. And if y'all don't know what the acronym stands for, Google it. I am not getting another ping on this channel trying to explain stuff to y'all. And this is an 18 and over channel. Y'all. Okay, before my brain explodes, let's run to the ad. Then we're gonna come back. So this gives y'all time to go get a beverage, go get a snack, go get a meal. I don't know what y'all do when you watch. Put some pants on, take some pants. I don't know. Just get comfortable, because baby, the second half of this. And shouts out to all of y'all that send me articles and videos. Much love. I wouldn't be able to do it without y'all because my schedule is crazy. But y'all make it happen. And I love y'all. But let's go into the ad, and then we gon' yeah.
Style is the answer to everything. A fresh way to approach a dull or dangerous thing. To do a dangerous thing with style.
Okay, y'all know I always have an after ad video, but before I get to that, can everybody that's currently in the comment section uh give a happy birthday shout out to one of my longest standing supporters and a really good friend of mine, P-Dub, P-E-D-U-B. Dub, first of all, quit being late. Second of all, but love you, man. Happy birthday. So let's get to the after ad video. But once again, wish him a happy birthday. He's cool.
I had a woman dying from COVID confess something really heart-wrenching to me. She told me that when she was a teenager, she told her mother that one of the local black boys had touched her behind the grocery store. And in 1936 Louisiana, this was a very big deal. Not only was this boy lynched, but he was beaten, and his genitals were cut off. And then the family home was burned to the ground. And she watched it all happen. You want to know why? Because she saw that his sisters had prettier dresses than she did, and she just didn't like it. So she lied. And then it clicked. This same woman had been hallucinating for the past couple of days, saying that there was a black boy in her room watching her, would not stop staring at her, and she was scared shitless. She asked if she could be forgiven. I told her the only person who could forgive her was the boy she killed. Not sorry.
Now, I first came across that video last year and I didn't get an opportunity to save it. So I cannot remember who sent me the video. My apologies. I try to save and give a like to, whomever when you send it. So my apologies. But see, this is why I say that white people love to skew statistics and then weaponize those statistics against us. There are a lot of white girls and white women who have lied. There have been white women admit that they were taught how to weaponize their tears from a young age. Now, mind you, that was in the 1930s, where black people didn't have access to everything that white people did. So this woman, as a young girl, was jealous of scraps that were put together to make these young ladies dresses that she had their brother tortured, mutilated, and murdered. And the family run out of time. As she thinks in her final days, after she's able to live a long life, have children, grandchildren, get married, all that stuff, take vacations, everything, that she would just willy-nilly get salvation and forgiveness. And this is why I say, stop forgiving them, because it means that they no longer have to admit nor atone for what they have done. And if they decide not to atone or admit until after we have ascended unto our ancestors, oh well, that's a them problem, not a us problem. You heard me? That is a them problem, not a us problem. I am tired of the onus being on the victims to make things right. No. And trust me, when my mother was in hospice, because of the placement of her room, the amount of people I walked past, and I heard some of these confessions that are similar to this. I heard people shrieking out, and some of the nurses were like, I know you're emotional about your mother, but you seem like a caring person. How can you walk past this? Didn't you work in a hospital? And there's no love lost for a bigot, a racist, a homophobe, a transphobe, none of that. None of it. And speaking of homophobes, transphobes, and problematic people, karma has come home to roost for a few.
One of the owners of Metzger called a representative of the family foundation about an hour before the reservation time, saying that the group would not be dining in the restaurant.
We've had events at restaurants all over the city, and we've never encountered a situation like this. It's no secret that we are very much engaged in the public policy debate on a number of controversial issues, but we never expected that we would be denied service at a restaurant based on our religious values or our political beliefs.
But aren't y'all among the same group of people that sued because of your religious beliefs and your political background to not serve the community that you wanted to be served by? Because you said that the LGBTQIA plus are groomers and pedos? Well, you know what? I never want to call somebody a liar, but I always do want to bring the facts. Here we go.
Well, I have to talk about another terrible administrator at another school district in West Texas. The superintendent of Seagraves was arrested after an investigation by the FBI for invasive videoing. He put a camera in the girls' locker room. And he wasn't caught because somebody at his district was holding him accountable. He was caught because a student thought the camera, which looked like a phone charger, belonged to one of her teammates. So she took it back. And once they got it back to the school, they figured out what it was. And this is what happens when we keep hiring these top-level positions based on the good old boy system. See, because it doesn't matter how long your families have gone back together, or how often you see them sitting in church, or the junior league, or the Lions Club, or how much their spouse gives to your favorite school board member. What matters is integrity. What matters is ethics. What matters is accountability, and we don't have any of those in West Texas right now.
So who's a threat to children? Like, children cannot be safe in school whatsoever. Between sexual predators, sexual assault, school shooting, racism, bigotry, homophobia, transphobia. But looks like Trump is finally telling the truth about something.
So
Take a
Donald
look.
Trump has finally admitted that the FBI searching his house was both proper and legal. Donald Trump has declined to appeal a court order ending his lawsuit challenging the FBI seizure of documents from his Mar-a-Lago resort. I don't know, maybe he just got tired of losing all the time. Regardless, his challenges were never going to succeed. He was the one that had classified documents in his house. That's breaking the law. And if the FBI wanted to seize those documents, that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, I got nothing. But for all of y'all that want to question me about why I say ACAB, all cops are bastards, and they're like, but don't you have a brother that's a cop? I said what I said. Sit back, relax, be back in 2 and 2, and we'll discuss this.
We are so going to have a conversation about this man right here. Trigger warnings all over this. SA, DV, kidnapping, trigger warning.
911 emergency. My ex-boyfriend is trying to break into my house. I'm not letting him in, but he's tried to break down the door and he's trying to break into one of the windows. He put me in the hospital a few weeks ago, and I've been trying to keep him away. I told him I was going to call. He's now trying to break in through the window. He's trying to jimmy it open.
Okay. Do you have anybody else in the house with you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Does he live there?
No, he does not.
Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have anybody to send out there.
Okay.
Obviously, if he comes inside the residence and assaults you, can you ask him to go away, or do you know if he's intoxicated or anything?
I've already asked him. I've already told him I was calling you. He's spoken before, busted down my door, assaulted me. Yeah, so...
Is there any way you can safely leave the residence?
No, I can't. Because he's blocking pretty much my only way out.
With a vehicle, or?
With the vehicle and with himself on my front door also.
Okay, is there anybody that you can call to come over and help you, or do you have any friends?
He has sat there and destroyed my phone that had all of my contacts in it because I have neighbors. Because he's done this. I can't get a hold of my neighbors. I don't know what their phone numbers are. I just had to get a new phone.
Okay. Well, the only thing I can do is give you some advice and call the sheriff's office tomorrow. Obviously, if he comes in and unfortunately has a weapon or is trying to cause you physical harm, that's a different story. The sheriff's office doesn't work up there. I don't have anybody to send.
Okay.
And we don't dispatch for him. Like I said, it's an unfortunate situation.
Okay, but I'll have to take care of myself, I guess.
Well, you have every right to do that. I can't tell you what to do, but is he still there?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. Well, do you want to you want to stay on the phone with me until we figure out what he might do, or can you ask him to leave?
This man broke into her house, choked her, raped her, and kidnapped her. 911 actually had part of it on their recording because he didn't hang up the phone right away. Police never responded until the next morning. You've got to be kidding me. Now, this happened in 2012, and they're saying the reason why this happened is the police couldn't respond because of budget cuts and no one was available. And when they tried to raise the taxes, people voted against it because they didn't want to pay $1 more in taxes. Do you think that dollar is worth it now?
Isn't it amazing that the same people that don't understand defunding the police, because the police have been defunded before, that's how we have EMTs and paramedics. I keep telling y'all that. You can fact check me. But they kind of defunded their own police by not wanting to pay $1 more in taxes. But to say, if he comes in and assaults you, can you just ask him to leave? Call the sheriff's department tomorrow. I can't dispatch the sheriffs to you. So it wasn't that nobody was available. This dispatcher was told, we're not going out. See, police will hide behind that thin blue line and have the blue flu and leave us all unprotected, majoritively, because the Supreme Court of the United States told them that they don't have to protect or serve us. They don't have to prevent a crime. So that protect and serve is just propaganda. It's just a slogan that they put on the cars to make you feel better, to give you propaganda so that you bootleg for them. But these are the same people that'll be like, well, what if somebody breaks into your home? Who are you going to call? The motherfuckers you didn't want to pay. So now what? I feel like everybody who's ever said that, everybody in that county, pay that woman. Make sure she gets her therapy and her healing. Pay her. Y'all so worried about protecting cops. This country is a ghetto ass conundrum. You worship gangsters, the mafia, mobsters, all of that, but then try to criticize the black community. You worship and make merchandise and fangirl and get on prison dating sites and write love letters to convicted serial killers. But you can't criticize the police department. You'll sit here and make shirts and campaigns, hashtag free Big Mook. But when women say, yes, all men, the oxymoronic behavior of this country. Y'all so woke you in a damn coma. This is why I have migraines. This is why I have migraines. Okay, a few months ago, I told y'all that there was a young lady hanging out with Mar-a-Lago, got really close with Trump, was going back and forth, and this was before the Mar-a-Lago raid. And before it was revealed that she was a scammer, I kept telling y'all something seems a little off about this lady. And this is right before I done the whole review of the whole Anna Delvey case where she was scamming people that were socialites in New York, all that stuff. Well, we have more information about her. Get comfy, because it's a lot.
This woman, whom he thought was Anna de Rothschild. John Lefebvre, an investment banker and guest at Mar-a-Lago, says he met her at the club last year, just before Mother's Day. He says she passed herself off as a member of the Rothschild family's banking dynasty and called it a near-perfect ruse.
She talked about growing up in Monte Carlo. She talked about her grandparents' house in West Palm Beach. She talked about family investments in the Dominican Republic and the Bahamas.
The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project were first to report the woman's alleged caper at Mar-a-Lago, which former President Trump calls home. They say she visited there at least 5 times last year. And new reporting by the Gazette and OCCRP has revealed possible ties to a Russian gang enterprise with a history of money laundering. This is video they obtained of her driving up to the Mar-a-Lago club's front doors.
She's wearing designer clothes. She's got the gold Rolex watches. She's wearing Van Cleef and Arpels, bracelets.
The Post-Gazette and OCCRP reported that numerous records have been turned over to the FBI as part of the investigation. These are just some of the fake IDs those media outlets say the 33-year-old woman was allegedly using. 2 fake passports, one from the U.S. and one from Canada, and a Florida driver's license that uses the home address of an $18 million mansion in Miami Beach, where the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette says she has never lived. Look closely. The name on all of them is Anna de Rothschild, but that woman is not Anna de Rothschild. Her real name is Ina Yashishin.
She's driving a brand new Mercedes G-Wagon, $170,000, and she has transformed herself into Anna de Rothschild.
We used her real identity, Ina Yashishin, to track down her lawyer. She declined our request for an on-camera interview, but through her lawyer told us she had only come here to the Mar-a-Lago Club once, on May 1st, 2021. When asked if she claimed to be a Rothschild, she said she had never used that name inside Mar-a-Lago and never held herself out as that.
That is, categorically false, and I can say that definitively. She presented herself as a Rothschild. In fact, she said she was going to her grandparents' house the evening before we played golf to pick up her golf clubs.
Those golf clubs were used to play at nearby Trump International Golf Course the day after John Lefebvre says he met her at Mar-a-Lago. This picture, first obtained by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, shows Ina, or Anna, posing for photos with both Donald Trump and Senator Lindsey Graham, who were at the course holding a fundraiser for the midterm elections.
Now, I know some of you all are wondering, well, Taz, how did she get busted? She was dressing the dress and talking the talk and walking the walk. No, she wasn't. See, to the common man, luxury brands are luxury brands. See, the luxury brands of the actual top 1%, we don't hear about. They don't have their labels splashed all over everything. Now, I am not top 1%. But have you ever noticed that you never see me with anybody's logo all over me? It's the world that I grew up in. I grew up in that country club. Yeah. But see, there's luxury brands that the rest of us, we won't know about until we hit that billionaire status. So when you have billionaires, oh, you're a Rothschild? Why are you wearing a Rolex? Why are you pulling up in a Benz? Why you... See, they're not flashy. Old money buys shit they shouldn't and puts off the shit that they should not be putting off. See, that's the biggest secret. And the biggest way you can tell somebody's wealth, their skin and their hair. Because you're going to get a different level of water. You're going to get a different level of nutrients. You're eating at a different level. Your sushi isn't coming from a restaurant. Your sushi is coming from a private chef in your kitchen. Everything is fresh, freshity, fresh. That's how. But, yeah, inventing Anna. I just put it in the comment section, Dub. But from one excuse to another. As a content creator on TikTok says, yay is at it again. And as an autistic person with some autistic friends, this shit makes me want to go on site with him. Buckle up. Major trigger warning. If you are autistic, Kanye is about to make you want to whoop his ass.
Hey, I am not bipolar. I'm not in some kind of episode, but I may be slightly autistic, like Rain Man. And that's part of my superpower. That's the reason why I can produce tracks and design and do so many things. But
I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I have never, and I don't think I will ever, understand the hype behind Kanye West. He's not a genius. He's not some musical impresario. Nothing. I don't get it. He has no superpower. He has super annoyance. And for him, nope, I'm not going to do it. I am learning every thought that I have does not need to be expressed, because every expression I have is not going to be understood by the populace. I will just say this. Autistic people, the autistic community is not a costume for you to cosplay, nor is it a get out of jail free card when you find yourself consumed in controversy that you created yourself. Because being autistic will not make you bigoted, will not make you racist, will not make you homophobic, will not make you transphobic. It will not make you anti-Semitic. Stop demonizing conditions. Let's move on to Kanye's latest nemesis, Elon Musk, who was recently booed. Because who the hell wouldn't boo Elon Musk? Would you stop, crackhead?
It's been quite a day for Elon Musk, the free speech absolutist. Last night, he appeared at a Dave Chappelle gig in San Francisco. Dave Chappelle is famous recently for his litany of transphobic jokes, so this was kind of Elon Musk's home turf. But instead of appreciation, he got 10 minutes of booing. Booing he struggled to respond to, looked clearly awkward, struggled bantering with Chappelle. Videos of this went up on Twitter shortly afterwards because it was funny. Watching a man who surrounds himself with sycophants and fires any of his critics struggle under the pressure of clear public disapproval. Shortly afterwards, those tweets were deleted and the accounts that posted them were banned from Twitter. I wonder who might have given those orders. This morning, Tesla shares lost another 4% of their market value, continuing their slide of over 50% in the last year. It's not just Dave Chappelle fans who are losing faith in Elon Musk.
Let's watch Elon Musk get booed.
Richest man in the world.
We're expecting this, were you?
It sounds like some of them people you fired are in the audience.
Ha 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 ha. Get it? Because he fired a bunch of people from Twitter? Alright, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
Tough road ahead, like it sounds like. But you know there's one thing. All those people are booing, and I'm just pointing out the obvious. You have terrible seats, and I understand. All coming from way up there, nigga, the last minute, non-playing. Boo!
Dave, you said this was going to be a good idea.
Well, this crackpot panel was discussing the new American Girl doll book and how there's a couple lines giving hopes to trans girls. This host decides
to make some noise for the richest man in the world. Cheers and boos, I think. Elon.
Hey, Dave. Weren't expecting this, were you?
It sounds like some of them people you fired are in the audience. Hey, wait a minute. Those of you booing. Tough on the head, like sounds like. But you know there's one thing. All those people are booing, and I'm just pointing out the obvious. You have terrible seats. I understand. All coming from way up there, niggas, in the last minute. Now I'm playing the niggas. Boo! Boo! Listen. Whatever. Look, motherfucker. This nigga is not even trying to die on Earth. His whole business model is fuck Earth. I'm leaving anyway. Do all you want. Take me with you, nigga. I'm going to Mars. Whatever kind of pussy they got up there, that's what we'll be doing. Anti-gravity titty bars. Follow your dreams, bitch, and the money just flow all over the world.
Thanks for having me on stage.
Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss this opportunity. The first comedy club on Mars. That should be mine. A deal's a deal, Musk.
Yeah.
You niggas can move if you want. This nigga gave me a jetpack last Christmas. Fly right past your house, nigga. Who these nuts when you find my jetpack? That's how we like to chill. We do bold shit.
Dave, what should I say?
Don't say nothing.
Okay.
But I'm only spoil the moment. Do you hear that sound, Elon? That's the sound of pending civil unrest. I can't wait to see which store you decimate next, motherfucker. You shut the fuck up with your boos. There's something better than you can do. Booing is not the best thing you can do. Try, nigga, to make it what you want it to be. I am your ally. I wish everybody in this auditorium peace and the joy of feeling free. And your pursuit of happiness make you happy. Amen. Thank you very much, San Francisco. No city on earth has ever been.
I started this podcast a year ago. Ever since then, I've gotten a lot of backlash and some criticism for not liking the city of Cleveland. Dave Chappelle lives in a suburb of Cleveland. Do you now understand my disdain because of the way of thinking that's perpetuated there? Do you get it now? Do you get it now? Elon Musk will allow hate speech. But you can't say shit about Elon Musk or then you're removed from the platform because several people posted and reposted and retweeted that video from various angles on Twitter. And because they made fun of Elon Musk, he removed those videos and those people's accounts. But not anybody saying the N-word, not anybody being anti-Semitic. Interesting. But now I know Christian Walker has not been very likable for a very long time, but here recently let's get into it because Christian just gave an incredible clapback.
Okay, are you ready? First, watch this.
Or I'll have to tell your wife how you had relations with my friend at the Turning Point event in 2021 while you were married to her. I don't like cheaters. I followed it up with, this man was fired from his job for inappropriate behavior and also did my friend 4 times in one night at a conservative conference while he was married and my friend didn't know. Get your family life together before you speak on mine, adult.
Ladies and gentlemen, theys and gays, and the furries, let me introduce you to Christian Walker, the anti-hero. But who is this Elijah Schaffer he's talking about? Here's one of his tweets from 2019. It's not meant to condemn, but to remind that if we are to claim the fight for purity, our lives should be an example. Huh? Fast forward 2 years, and what are you doing, Mr. Elijah? If you believe in Christian morals, openly fight against those who struggle with sins you don't, while also practicing your own forms of sexual misconduct, you will never find peace. Spiritual peace comes from personal holiness, which is an example of those who are lost. Oh, this is why he was fired from the Blaze. This guy. He said that. Isn't it amazing the guy who's anti-trans, anti-gay, anti-gay marriage, anti-choice is having affairs and lying to his family? The sanctity of my gay marriage is being ruined by straight marriage.
Before we move on, I forgot about this article. My apologies. If y'all haven't figured out, the crackhead has been on one tonight, so my apologies. But coming from The Advocate, Elon Musk throws transphobic outburst after being booed on stage. The richest man in the world got booed in front of thousands during an appearance at a Dave Chappelle show. Over the weekend, the wealthiest man in the world learned that money could buy a social media platform, but it still can't silence critics. Elon Musk spent the weekend continuing to stir the proverbial pot by making controversial Twitter posts and showing up as a surprise guest at a Dave Chappelle show in San Francisco. Neither went very well. No shit, Sherlock. Stop trying to have black tokens. How about that? The new owner of Twitter continued trying to rile up his supporters and gin up controversy in his ongoing attempt to call action to the platform that advertisers have left in droves after Musk's acquisition. On Saturday, Musk tweeted, "Twitter is both a social media company and a crime scene." Yeah, because you murdered it in front of all of our eyes. We saw it in 4K. Like, that was the Black Dahlia without the suspense and the questions. We know who did it. It was just brutal and gruesome. Motherfucker, what? Anywho, the billionaire seemingly agreed with the right-wing notion that under its previous ownership, staff at Twitter engaged in crimes against conservatives. How are the people granted the most leniency always trying to act like somebody is trying to silence them? Y'all motherfuckers are never silenced. You're loud, wrong, and obnoxious. Republicans have long complained that social media companies sought to silence them. Musk has continually played into this idea since taking over the company. Yeah, because it's easier to separate conservatives from their money than it is the rest of us. Because most of their money, it comes from nepotism. Never mind. He continues to fuel right-wing conspiracy theories and rage against technology companies and the media who he and conservative influencers believe are working together to silence their voices. Boy, don't come after me because I ain't what you want. I'm going to hurt all of your feelings. I'm going to remind you that your daddy is still fucking his stepdaughter and popping out kids with her. I'm going to remind you that your mama is doing better than all of y'all. And she ain't shit than a motherfucker. I'm going to remind you that you got to pay for the pussy. I'm going to remind you every single damn time because you built like a busted can of biscuits that was left out in the sun in the middle of summer in the central part of Kentucky. Don't Don't play with me. I'm going to remind you that you got to buy friends because don't nobody like your personality because you really don't have one. I'm going to remind you that your degree was paid for and that you never took a day of classes and never studied shit. That's why I don't understand why you and Trump are battling with each other. Y'all the same pea in the same pod. But anyhow, so early on Sunday morning, Musk previewed in a tweet that now things get spicy before later posting a political tweet that was simultaneously anti-LGBTQ plus and anti-science. My pronouns are prosecute Fauci, Musk wrote. Didn't you lose a child to SIDS? Didn't you lose a child to SIDS? Don't you also have a trans child? And aren't you in a science-driven industry? But y'all want to keep saying that he's a genius. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. He's just an investor that screws people over. The tweet gained more than 1.1 million likes from Musk's 121 million followers. Yeah, it's millions of people that are dumb as fuck. We knew that. Which pleased the attention-seeking multi-billionaire writing, "Truth resonates" on Monday morning. Can we stop calling him the richest man in the world and stop calling him a multi-billionaire? He is a welfare queen. His whole lifestyle is sustained on subsidies and borrowing money. He pays himself in stock options, so he has no liquidity. He keeps going to whoever's in the White House to bail him out. He has top tier Section 8. Like everybody else got to be on the waiting list, but Musk took a break from tweeting long enough to get thoroughly booed during a surprise appearance he made during Dave Chappelle's set at San Francisco's Chase Center Sunday evening. Video circulating on social media shows the controversial comedian introducing the controversial businessman for the assembled audience. One is clearly not like the other. No, they're clearly like each other. They twinning them. No new friends. Get rid of them. Monday morning, after the video of Musk's rejection had gone viral, he tweeted again. "The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else mattered," he wrote. You know, woke just means educated. Like y'all really pushing for people to be never mind. Shortly thereafter, Musk got cowed by a Twitter user who had replied to Musk's comment about truth resonating with "so does a crowd full of booze." Musk responded, "Technically, it was 90% cheers, 10% booze, except during quiet periods. But still, that's a lot of booze, which is a first for me in real life. I feel like you get booed in the bedroom." Frequent on Twitter. Go touch some grass, Musk. You're chronically online. Go touch some grass. Never mind. It's almost as if I've offended San Francisco's unhinged leftists, but nah. Being easily defeated by the sun makes you incredibly naive and narcissistic, but okay. Scott Kelly, who is a former NASA astronaut and twin brother of Arizona United States Senator Mark Kelly, responded to Musk's pronouns tweet, writing, "Elon, please don't mock and promote hate toward already marginalized and at risk of violence members of the LGBTQ plus community. They are real people with real feelings. Furthermore, Dr. Fauci is a dedicated public servant whose sole motivation was saving lives." Musk, the father of a transgender child, has been allergic to the concept of personal pronouns as a most right-wing extremist who take issue with that part of speech, but they use personal pronouns to describe themselves and their never mind. He replied, "I strongly disagree. Forcing your pronouns upon others when they didn't ask and implicitly ostracizing those who don't is neither good nor kind to anyone. If you have a Twitter account, everybody go to Twitter and refer to Elon Musk as she." Cause I'm you know what? I can't. I can't. Now, to close out the night, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the infection that keeps on infecting. Her defense on being accused of being involved in January 6th is that she would do it better. I'm not. Just take a look.
This video is being made, of course, for educational purposes only. So recently there was a Republican cult gathering of young Republicans specifically. Marjorie Taylor Greene was there, Steve Bannon was there, I believe Donald Trump Jr. was there. So if that gives you any indication on how crazy the speeches probably were, yeah. Nonetheless, this tweet came across my timeline that reads, Marjorie Taylor Greene told the crowd at the New York Young Republicans cult last night that the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol would have succeeded if she had planned it, and that the insurrectionists would have been armed. Now, I didn't want to believe that she actually said that, but then this video came across my timeline, and listen to this.
I come to Washington, I swear in on January 3rd, I get accused of giving insurrection tours, which I thought was hilarious because I couldn't even find the bathroom in the Capitol.
Wow. That was so painfully unfunny. The audience won't even give her a sympathy laugh.
True story. Then January 6th happens, and next thing you know, I organized the whole thing along with Steve Bannon here. And I want to tell you something, if Steve Bannon and I had organized that, we would have won. Not to mention, it would have been armed.
What are they cheering for? It's giving sheep. I came across this article that talked about the gathering. White nationalists, other Republicans brace for total war. A collection of radical right figures, including white nationalists and ultra-nationalist European leaders, gathered in Manhattan for the New York Young Republicans cult annual gala, where the group's president declared total war on perceived enemies. We want to cross the Rubicon. We want total war. We must be prepared to do battle in every arena, in the media, in the courtroom, at the ballot box, and in the streets. This is the only language the left understands, the language of pure and unadulterated power. I don't know who the hell Gavin Wax is, but he sounds like a good time. At the 5-hour event, 5 hours of this? Oh. Which Hate Watch reporters attended, white nationalists Peter and Lydia Brimelow of VDare hobnobbed with Steve Bannon. I have never seen hobnobbed used outside of, was it iCarly? The friggin' hobknockers, am I right? Republicans publicly lauded members of an Austrian political party founded by World War II-era German Nazi party members. That doesn't surprise me. A racist political operative Jack Pepto-Bismol shared jokes across the table with Josh Hammer, the opinion editor of Newsweek. Oh my god. Republican speakers repeatedly voiced an anti-democracy authoritarian ideology, and extremists in the audience cheered wildly. White nationalists such as the Brimelows of VDare. What is VDare? I've never heard. And leaders from extreme far-right European parties like Alternative for Germany. Oh, dude, what? Yeah, it's a cult. Cult. Look, I understand why a non-racist Republican would feel offended when all Republicans get labeled as racist. Like, I get that. But the furthest section of your political ideology, they are all racist or anti-Semitic. The further over on the left you get, they might be annoyingly woke, but they're not racist. Young Republicans are literally partying with white nationalists. Explain it. I'll wait. These people...
They know that they are. They're partying with their parents, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, their sisters, their brothers, their nieces, their nephews, and their children. They know exactly what they're doing. Exactly. It's not a surprise at all. But as always, Thank you for joining me here for Monday Mayhem here on Conversations with Taz. I'll see you tomorrow for Talk About It Tuesday. And don't forget, Taztastic Tuesday, the audio podcast that is a lot shorter if you have attention span problems. You can go check it out over there, and it will be linked in the description of tomorrow's video as always. If you're not currently subscribed to Camp Taz, the written blog, you might want to skedaddle over there. The link is in the link tree that is linked to this bio. Yeah, I'm the crackhead has worn me out tonight. So has American politics and a portion of the American populace. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Happy birthday, Dub. I will see you all tomorrow. Till the next time. And who knows, you might catch me on a live later tonight. It's not like I sleep.
Actually, that's where you're wrong. I am and have been Colonel Sanders since 2015 when I was commissioned a Kentucky colonel. Let's also go to the fact that I'm his 3 great nephew and I'm the last Sanders in the line and therefore I am Colonel Sanders. So right there, I'm more real than KFC will ever dream to be since they refuse to use me. Let's not stop there. Colonel Harlan Sanders, my uncle, told people KFC was horrible after he sold it. He hung on to the Canadian franchises until 1972 when he gave them the charity, but when he moved back to Shelbyville, Kentucky, and he saw what Kentucky Fried Chicken Corp was doing with his recipe and his products, he was outraged. He even sued them for changing his recipe and misuse of his name and image. He called the food slop. The gravy or potatoes were referred to as wallpaper paste. The extra crispy he referred to, quote-unquote, a damn fried dough ball. No, he didn't just stop there. KFC was so bad, and he was telling them that they were so bad, and the people, that he went behind KFC's back and had Marion K. Spices, the original provider of the recipe, make his recipe again. And then he went around to 200 franchisees of KFC and said, here, use this. This is better than what corporate's having you use today. That could be verified through court records when Marion K. Spices was sued by KFC after Uncle Harley died in 1980, and they were forced to change their recipe. But don't just believe me. Let's take to Twitter and look at the complaints on their customer service page. By the way, if you go to this page, you can see all the complaints because there's too many to list here. But here's this one. Yeah, if Uncle Harley was alive today, if Colonel Sanders was alive today, and he saw how corporate is treating their customers, their quality is down, the recipe has been changed, but that's not even the biggest part. In their advertisement, he would be saying every curse word in the book. He'd be going out against KFC publicly. I can't even imagine the words that he would say about it. KFC is not original in any way, shape, or form anymore other than their coleslaw, and I'll give them credit for their charity work. But not just my experience, statistics online and around the world say that KFC's quality is down, their customer service sucks, the recipe just doesn't taste right anymore. The chicken just doesn't taste right. There's too small portions. They're out of chicken. They get your order wrong half the time. When you do get your chicken, it doesn't have breading on it really. And if it does, it's just grease soaked. The napkins are grease soaked. Sometimes the chicken's undercooked, it's too cold. But the fact is, I am Colonel Sanders today, and his nephew Lee started Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, which still does the chicken right today. So I tell people to go to Lee's over KFC, because KFC has just let the family down and they let the Colonel down. They only care about your money, they don't care about you. And until KFC makes a change for the better, I will not support them. The facts are the facts.